From polar bears and grizzlies to jaguars and lions combined, here are 10 of the most amazing animal hybrids. Number 10. Savannah Cat. Savannah cats first started to be bred in the late 1980s and are a cross between an exotic African serval and a domesticated house cat. Even though they are both types of cat, it's quite tricky to get them to breed, so they are relatively rare and sought after around the world. Apart from their unique markings and appearance, Savannah cats are part wild animal, and they come with some unique temperamental traits. They are typically taller, slimmer, and with larger ears than the traditional breeds of cats that are kept as pets. They are often compared to dogs because of the way that they are loyal to their owners and follow people around. They aren't as aloof and independent like other cats can be. They are excellent jumpers and can actually reach the top of a door or a fridge in just one leap. Besides meowing, they have a range of unusual noises to communicate with you. Because Savannah cats are bred as pets, you can find one with the perfect blend of domesticated versus wild cat genetics for your needs, but it's important to be aware of their specific diet and living requirements. Also, make sure that it is legal to own one where you live. Despite how great they look, the fact that they are a hybrid species means that they are illegal in at least 4 states and restricted in many more. Number 9. The Narluga. Narwhals and beluga whales are very closely related, so it's perhaps no surprise that the two species are able to interbreed and have viable offspring known as Narluga whales. In fact, they are one of a number of hybrid species that can be found in Arctic waters. Recently, one was spotted off the coast of Greenland, and while it exhibited most of the features of the narwhal, it lacked the most renowned feature, the spiral tusk. Besides, narwhals and belugas tend to keep their distance from each other, Narlugas are very rare and very little is actually known about them. Sightings have increased in recent years, but researchers are unsure whether this is because there are more of them or if it's because there are more vessels in the region, so there are more chances to see one. None have ever been caught or kept in captivity, so you are truly lucky if you are ever able to see one. Number 8. The Grolar. This hybrid is becoming more common for an unexpected reason: global warming. As environments are changing, grizzly bears are starting to move further north from their normal habitats in Canada and Alaska, and this brings them into contact with their larger cousins on the coastlines, polar bears. One thing leads to another, and this results in the birth of Grolar bears, half grizzly and half polar bear. They look like small polar bears but have brown paws and large claws like grizzlies, as well as a grizzly-shaped head. It's perhaps not a surprise that this happens, as the two species are genetically very similar. Polar bears actually evolved from brown bears about 150,000 years ago and are the largest land-based carnivores in the world. Their numbers are dwindling though due to receding ice sheets, and it's thought by some that the Grolar bear could be nature's way of adapting the species to survive for generations to come. As conditions continue to change, we'll likely see more and more of these creatures in the north. Number 7. The Cama. Camas are another hybrid species that only exist because of human involvement. A cross between a camel and a llama, the first Cama was born at Dubai's Camel Reproduction Center in 1995. The project was first conceived to see if the best traits of each animal could be retained in one, and the scientists weren't even sure if it would be possible. It was discovered that a male llama wasn't able to breed with a female camel, but the reverse was possible in rare circumstances. Camas don't have humps, and they are covered in the same long fluffy coat as you'd find on a llama. Their ears are somewhere in between those of camels and llamas, but crucially for the conditions they live in, they retain the sturdy legs of a camel that allows them to traverse the desert. Interestingly, their feet are a combination of the two, partially cloven like a llama, but with part of a foot pad like a camel. For 13 years, Rama, the first Cama, was the only one in existence, but improved artificial insemination techniques led the center to announce the birth of 3 more Camas in 2008, and now they all roam as a pack across the Arabian desert. Number 6. The blood parrot cichlid. This species of fish was created in Taiwan in the mid-1980s and is a cross between the red-head cichlid and the Midas. Both these species are native to different countries in Latin America, so it is unlikely they would have ever met in the wild. Normally, blood parrot cichlids are bright orange, but there's controversy over the breeding of this species. They are subject to anatomical deformities and mistreatment by breeders before selling them. The main problem is the shape of their mouths, which are narrow vertical openings. This means they struggle to eat larger pieces of food and can suffer from malnutrition. They also cannot fully close their mouths, so they are forced to use their throat muscles to crush food, and often can have a deformed swim bladder so they can't properly balance in the water. People like this strange way of swimming and say that they have an endearing personality and will even wait for their owners to come home. Breeders have also been known to clip their tails when they're born so they grow into a heart shape. That way they can be sold as heart parrots, and some even inject other colors into them to make them stand out more. This has led to the banning of blood parrots in many places and raises questions over the ethics of creating animals purely for our pleasure. Number 5. The Beefalo. Although it may sound like something you'd order at a fast food restaurant, a beefalo is actually a hybrid that you get by crossing cattle with bison. Accidental crosses of the two species have been recorded as far back as 1749, but they have only been intentionally bred since 1880 in an attempt to combine the desired characteristics of each for beef production. Beefalo are calmer and grow faster like cattle, and have meat that is lower in fat and cholesterol like that of a bison. They are also said to be less damaging on local environments, but there are some exceptions to this. In the Grand Canyon, for example, beefalo from a failed breeding program escaped, and now a herd of more than 600 roam the canyon's north rim. They drink relatively large amounts of water, up to 10 gallons each per visit to a watering hole, and can, as a result, deprive other animals of the things that are vital to their survival. They are also responsible for damaging culturally important sites in the region, so the race is now on to try and contain these animals. Number 4. The Zebroid. The term Zebroid is used to describe hybrids between zebras and any other equine species. They have been bred for hundreds of years, and even Charles Darwin mentioned different versions of zebroids in his works. A zebroid has a zebra stallion as its sire, with another species as the dam, the female. Often the offspring will develop dwarfism, and they are usually infertile. There are more specific names for zebroids depending on what species the mother is. A zorse, for example, is a cross between a zebra and a horse. A zoni is a cross between a zebra and a pony. And a zonkey is, guess what? What you get when you cross a zebra and a donkey. It's very rare for a zebroid to occur without human intervention, but in South Africa, zonkies have been discovered in areas where zebras live very close to donkeys, so it's always possible. Usually a zebroid looks much more like the parent that is not a zebra, but will have the familiar striped pattern on parts of its body. It doesn't usually have the stripes all over its body, but instead the head, legs are on the back. The animal's temperament, though, usually comes from the zebra parent, so if you ever come face to face with one, you should expect it to be strong and aggressive. Number 3. The Wholphin. Wholphins are extremely rare and are the combination of a bottlenose dolphin and a false killer whale. There are at least 30 different species of oceanic dolphin, including killer whales, which are the largest, and the lesser-known false killer whale, which is also a kind of dolphin. A false killer whale is the 4th largest type of dolphin, and they are similar to orcas in that they have similar features and hunt other marine animals in packs. Wholphins are thought to occur naturally in the wild, but they are extremely rare. Even false killer whales haven't been studied extensively. Recorded wholphins have only ever been seen in captivity. One was born in 1986 at the Sea Life Park in Hawaii, called Kekaimalu, from a 2,000-pound, 14-foot-long male false killer whale and a 400-pound, 6-foot-long female bottlenose dolphin. Kekaimalu has gone on to give birth to 3 offspring, and the hybrid species shows marked differences from the others. Bottlenose dolphins, for example, have approximately 88 teeth, and false killer whales have about 44. Wholphins, on the other hand, have 66 teeth and are smaller than a false killer whale and larger than a dolphin. One of Kekaimalu's children was the size of a bottlenose dolphin by the time it was just 1 year old. They truly are beautiful creatures, and if you're ever on the island of Oahu in Hawaii, it's definitely worth visiting the Sea Life Park to see one for yourself. Number 2. The Geep. A geep is the result of a cross between a sheep and a goat. These are 2 very different species, so usually the offspring is stillborn or doesn't survive for long, but occasionally they go on to live healthy lives. It is also possible to cross sheep and goats in laboratories to create a chimera animal, but there's very little benefit to this apart from proving scientific theories. In 2014, a Geep was unexpectedly born on a farm in Ireland. The farmer hadn't intended or tried for it to happen and was stunned at what he found. It was apparently able to run faster than any of the other lambs that had been born around the same time and was already developing horns soon after birth. The ewe that it had been born to was raising it just like any other lamb. But cases like this are extremely rare. It was the only ever recorded instance of a Geep being born live in the entire country. Number 1. The Jaglion. Probably the most awesome-looking hybrid is the Jaglion. A cross between a male jaguar and a female lion, they haven't been found in nature and only occur in captivity under unusual circumstances. The Bear Creek Sanctuary in Ontario, Canada is one of the only places in the world where you can see not just one, but 2 of them. They received a male jaguar and a female lion who were kept in the same enclosure and spent their lives together from a very young age. In 2006, Lola the lion gave birth to 2 hybrids, a male and a female who were named Tsunami and Jazara. Each exhibits features of both species, notably the coloring, jaw, and feet, and by all accounts, they are perfectly happy and healthy animals. While the sanctuary now keeps their parents in separate areas, the siblings live together and attract tourists from all around. Thanks for watching! Which one is your favorite? Let us know in the comments below. Remember to subscribe and I'll see you next time. Bye!